venture is called Magnus Cards, and you talk about Magnus Mode.
Yeah,
Tell.
Magnus Mode is actually the business.
Okay.
Magnus Cards is our first solution. It's a mobile and web application.
Okay.
It's available for iOS, Android, anything with a screen, basically. And I don't know, the viewers have probably heard of Pokemon. Pokemon's pretty, popular thing. So in Magnus Cards, users team up with Magnus to collect, create, and share card decks. And each card deck presents step-by-step instructions for navigating a variety of tasks at home and in the community. So, for example, Troy collects the How to Take a Bus card deck, and he uses that and follows the steps presented in images, text, and audio to get through this life skill activity. I don't know if you want me to go into how this idea came to be. It's really personally based.
I do.
But I'm happy to share.
We mentioned a little bit that you have a brother, but tell us how you came up with this.
Sure. I mean, Troy's my best friend, to be honest. He is the most caring and wonderful human being that I have ever known. And so growing up with autism, I mean, he was diagnosed around the age of 4. And at that point, nothing was really known about autism. I mean, other than the loud noises coming from our apartment, people are like, okay, well, that guy, there's something wrong with him. He's not quite normal, but we're just going to stay away. So our siblings and I, we used to do all sorts of things to help Troy to integrate into the home life and do things independently. Because Troy, like many people on the spectrum, as you're probably aware, he appreciates structure. He appreciates visual learning. This is something that helps him to thrive. And everyday tasks like brushing teeth and like getting dressed could be overwhelming for somebody like Troy. So my siblings and I, what we used to do is, well, I draw. So I would draw characters that would walk Troy through activities around the home. So, for example, how to brush your teeth. Troy would go into the bathroom, and above the bathroom sink, it would be step-by-step images of how to brush your teeth. So kind of like social stories, but we transformed the walls of our apartment into a giant library of social stories, which Troy used to navigate life around the home. So the idea for Magnus Cards came from literally digitalizing and gamifying what we did on the walls of our apartment, because we ran into a problem when Troy turned 21. And that is a problem that most families with special needs will face. And that is, there is a supreme and extreme lack of support and services for people with cognitive special needs once they graduate from high school. So I graduated from high school, and I went on to go to U of T, and I got a University of Toronto, and I got a degree, and Troy graduated from high school, and he graduated to the couch. He was on a bridge to nowhere. And this is something that really upset me as a sibling. So I started thinking, what if there was a way to help Troy to get out there and live his life in the real world, and to provide him with the structure and the support that he needs to do so, and make it fun? And so Magnus Cards was born to be the ultimate strategy guide, something that is handheld, it's digital, it's customizable fully, and a person like Troy can take it out into the world and use it to learn things and for support for things like going to the movies, getting a job, opening a bank account, anything that you can imagine. Having that structure that was so critical and that proved to be successful when he was a child.
Well, I want to let you know that we always do a jargon of the day as we start the show, and our jargon for today was task analysis. And it was with the idea, and we talked about this will make much more sense later on in the show, and talking about sometimes when you have a task that is so complex that other people have just picked up, but you need to teach it to somebody who's struggling with it, it's essential to have a really good task analysis. And there's lots of different ways to do this, but you've made it fun and given a way for an individual to have it with them, but in a way that's really socially acceptable. So talk a little bit about if somebody, for instance, like you were talking about being able to ride public transportation. So how would the card work with that for somebody on the spectrum?
Okay, so first of all, the socially acceptable bit is really, really critical. So, I mean, Troy could probably take a binder of things that I've drawn or a binder of PECs or a bag, a garbage bag of PECs into the world, but that's not practical, A. And B, it's marking him as somebody who needs that assistance. It's not something that helps him to be included as a functioning member of society. And it impedes his ability to do so as well. So Magnus cards, by being on a tablet, so I got a tablet here, I got my red tablet, everything's red with Magnus Mode. So I got my red tablet, you can have it on a tablet, you can have it on a phone. And by pulling out your phone and opening up the app Magnus Cards and searching the life skills categories, so actually, you know, I'll just pull it up to show you what exactly I mean by life skills categories. So these are the categories. Oh, first of all, here's Magnus. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's Magnus right there.
Wearing the hat.
Yeah, and he guides people through these activities and provides that positive reinforcement too. So when we talk about task analysis, not only are we breaking down tasks, but we're providing incentive and encouragement to practice and master these skills. So within these 12 life skills categories, you can probably only see some of them here, but users are collecting and sharing and creating card decks. And the card decks pretty much resemble a baseball card. You've got the image, you've got an audio portion where you can read the text out loud for people like Troy, who is not a strong reader, but who can understand everything that's spoken to him. And then you've got the text component as well. So somebody like Troy could pull up the Taking a Bus card deck seen here. Mm-hmm. And Magnus presents the problem, so he engages the user in the activity, and then they simply scroll through and follow the steps to complete the task in real life.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much the ultimate strategy guide for life. When they're done completing the task, they get points. Magnus comes back and gives them points and says, good job, you did it. And furthermore, really critical piece is the ability to customize. So not only do you have how to take a bus in San Francisco or New York, but you can then customize your own route. So how am I taking the bus to my volunteer placement? And what are the things that I need to see in that image to be sufficiently familiar for me to identify with the task and get it done?